What's up guys, and welcome to the channel. My name's Micah, and today we're going to be taking a look at the SIG P226. This is going to be a hammer-fired, full-size, all-metal pistol. It really got its claim to fame when it was adopted by the US Navy SEALs, and we were able to get our hands on one here, so we're just going to kind of be taking a look at the features and specs of this gun. We'll see how we like it, see what it's good for. Of course, we'll take it out to the range, put a few rounds through it, and see how it does. Stick around guys, this should be super fun. And before we get too far along in the video, I'll definitely show you that the gun is unloaded here, so you can see that there is nothing in our chamber. Everything is clear and safe. Of course, our magazine is empty as well. So safety is first guys, that's extremely important, and we always want to be on top of that. So there's going to be a few different versions of this 226 around. There is the stainless version, which has a stainless slide, stainless lower. There's going to be the Elite. There's the TAC Ops version, which we have right here. There's the MK25, that is a clone of the gun that the US Navy SEALs use. All the different versions are going to be relatively the same, with just some minor differences. Things that make the TAC Ops version, the one that we have here, unique is that it has a extended beaver tail on the rear. It's going to have a fiber optic front sight instead of just the SIG night sights. It does have some front serrations, whereas some versions do not. The grips are going to come down a little bit lower than the actual frame on this gun to kind of make a flared mag well. And then it does have SIG's short reset trigger as well. So as far as kind of the history on this gun, the first versions of this gun started floating around in the 1970s. We really saw this gun come to life when it was entered into the XM9 competition in 1984. So that's going to be a contest or a competition that the US military holds in order to select their next handgun for the United States Armed Forces. The most notable contenders in that competition were the 226 and then the Beretta 92. Now we all know that the Beretta 92 was the handgun selected to be the next service pistol of the United States Armed Forces, and after some investigation into that, I found out that the Beretta was selected because of price reasons, not because it was the better gun. After looking at some of their charts and figures, the 226 was actually notably more accurate and reliable than the Beretta 92. Now both of those guns have evolved over the years, and we have extremely reliable platforms in both. Now a few years after that competition, in 1989, the US Navy SEALs selected the 226 to be their handgun of choice. Now when the Navy SEALs selected this gun, they were not limited by the price of the gun, anything like that. They just wanted the best handgun that they could get. They deemed that to be the SIG 226. So these 226s still serve the US Navy SEALs as well as the Glock 19. They just recently added that to their portfolio of handguns as well. So I suppose now we'll start walking around the pistol and check out all the features and specs and see what this baby has to offer. As far as the sights go, the rear sights are going to be the SIG Light night sights. They are metal. The front sight on this is going to be a fiber optic tritium sight. This sight's going to be kind of specific to the TAC Ops model. Normally you just see a SIG Light night sight on the front, just like the rears here. But great quality sights. Of course, we like to see that they are metal. As we start moving down the slide here, you do come to those front serrations, so not all the versions of the 226 will have those. I always like them. It's a nice gesture. It lets you press check, status check your pistol, so kind of a nice gesture. They're very easy to use. It's not a huge clump of them, just enough to get your fingers on. Checking out the serrations on the rear, you know, they're very pronounced. They have a nice texture to them. They are slightly angled forward. Your hand will have no problem actuating those. I have no complaints. It seems like they work very well. As far as the overall size of the slide, I mean, this is big and bulky. It is a full-size duty pistol. You will have no problem finding enough real estate to comfortably put your hand on there. As we start moving on down, you will see that there's a nice Picatinny rail on the front of this gun here. It does have kind of your 3 different lugs on it. Nice size, so that can accommodate all of your lights, lasers, bayonets, whatever whatever you want to throw on there. As we move on back, you will come to our takedown lever there. It's very easy to actuate that. You'll see us do that when we break the pistol down here in just a bit. Moving further back, we kind of come to a clump of controls here. So since this gun is hammer fired, we do have a decocker on here. So that will be this front little lever there. So it kind of has some take up, and then you come to a little resistance. Once you push through that resistance, that will release your hammer. You probably saw that right there, so I'll do that once more. Our hammer is back. We are in single action mode. Once we actuate our decocker downwards, you will press through that resistance, and that will release our hammer. I love the placement and the texture, the feel of this decocker. It is very easy while still having your firing grip on the gun. You don't need to change the position of your hand much at all. Just behind that, you come to our slide lock or slide release. So if our slide is locked back, pushing that down will release our slide, or if you need to lock the slide back, actuating that upwards as you pull the slide back will lock your slide. Below those two controls, we do come to the magazine release there. So it kind of has a nice gritty texture to it. It's about the same level as the grip, so your hand is not accidentally going to hit that, but the nice texture on that lets your thumb find it very easy. It spits the magazines out, no problem. I have never had any qualms, any complaints about the mag release on this. Seems to work very well. Moving down around the trigger, you know, I do like the shape of this trigger guard. It gives you plenty of real estate in here for your finger in double action mode. When you are in single action, you get a huge amount of space in there. The front of the trigger guard does have some slight serrations on there, a little texture if you're the kind of person who wants to put a finger on the front of the trigger guard. I do not do that, and I don't preach that to anybody. So maybe don't do that. The trigger kind of has a rounded shape to it, so I do like that. When you put your finger on it, you are kind of pressing that trigger back. There is equal pressure dispersed on your whole finger, as opposed to a straight trigger where there's just kind of one point of pressure on your finger against the trigger. The trigger is metal. It is not a polymer or a composite material. As far as the trigger pull on this gun, in double action mode, while our hammer is down, it's going to be about a 10-pound pull. It has a really smooth, linear feel to it. It doesn't start hard and then get soft, or doesn't start soft and then get harder. It is just a consistent 10 pounds through the entire trigger pull. When you are in single action mode, that trigger moves down to about a 4.5 pound pull. It does have a slight amount of take up right here, and then once you come to the wall, that is where you will need to apply that 4.5 pounds to break through the wall and to fire the gun. I'll do that one more time for you. So a slight amount of take up, you get to the wall, 4.5 pounds breaks you right through. In double action mode, you do get a little bit of take up here as well, maybe a 1/4 inch or so, and then it's just a consistent 10-pound pull all the way through until that hammer fires. Very, very nice double action pull on this gun, and the single action is very easy to be extremely accurate with. Yeah, love the trigger on this gun. Oh, and now we'll just kind of talk about the grips on this gun. So we do have that extended beaver tail on this version. The Elite version and the TAC Ops, I believe, are the ones that will have this extended beaver tail. So this works well in that it keeps the web of your hand out of the way of that slide. You will never get any slide bite with that extended beaver tail on this gun. And it also kind of helps guide your hand to the grip when you are going to draw your weapon out of your holster. It works very well. I have zero problems with that extended beaver tail. I've never found that it gets caught on my clothing or anything like that. Like I said before, for the TAC Ops version, the grips on this are going to come slightly below the frame on this gun, and it does kind of make for a flared mag well. Otherwise, all your other versions of the 226, the grips will stop right at the lower frame. So you don't really get a flared mag well on the other versions of this gun, but your magazines are going to have a slight taper to them, so it's very easy to slide those into your mag well. I've never really had any problems with any version of the 226, but the TAC Ops version definitely makes it a little easier with that extra flare from the grips. The grips are going to be the widest point on this gun, so the grips themselves are about 1.5 inches wide. So when you hold this gun, everything about it feels like a full-sized gun. And that big, wide, full-size grip is just gonna give you a ton of control on this pistol when you're shooting it. Everything about this gun is just so pleasant and comfortable to shoot. The grips are gonna be kind of a two-piece grip, so you see a little seam on the back there, so they kind of wrap around the back side of the gun, but that gives you a very consistent texture kind of all around the gun there. It feels very good in your hand. This is one of the best feeling guns I've ever felt. It doesn't really feel like any other pistol I've ever held. It just kind of feels like its own thing. These 226s are just, they're nice. We do get a little texture on the front side of the grip here on the lower frame, so that's kind of molded into the aluminum there. It's aggressive, but it's not too aggressive, so that's a very good texture. Your fingers feel very good against that. It gives you a lot of control on the gun, so I have no complaints there. Standard magazines for the 226 are going to be a 15 capacity magazine. For the TAC Ops version, you will get 20 round magazines. So that makes this gun a 20+1 capacity pistol, which is pretty crazy, like a 20+1 capacity in your duty pistol. Let's go. And lastly, as far as the hammer goes on this gun, you know, it's not too bulky in size. It never gets caught on anything or in the way, but it does have a nice aggressive texture to it. It is extremely easy to actuate that. I've never had my thumb slip off that or struggle to find it, so very easy. Like the hammer a lot on this gun. Well, and I think that's kind of all the basic features on the gun. So now we'll break this pistol down and see what the insides look like here. So we will take our magazine out of the gun and then we will lock our slide to the rear. So when that slide is locked to the rear position, we will actuate our takedown lever. We will turn that downwards here. So we will just put a thumb on that, turn it downwards so everything looks good there. We will release our slide here forward, and then we can just pull it right off the lower frame. So we'll just pull our guide rod and spring out of this guy here. So the guide rod is going to be metal. Of course, we always like to see metal guide rods, but I have plenty of pistols that do have a polymer guide rod. It's not a deal breaker for me, but of course I like to see this. As far as the spring goes on this gun, you know, it's not held on just by the guide rod. It kind of extends past the guide rod there, and it's kind of a twisted or braided steel spring, so it feels very rigid and very strong. I like this design. I don't see this design too often, but it works very well. And we'll take our barrel out here and see what that looks like. So I did get this gun used. I could not find one brand new, and then I saw one come up close to me that was used, and so I jumped on it right away. But there is no unusual wear or scarring on this barrel. Nothing out of the norm. Everything does look very heavy duty. It's a 4.4 inch barrel. Oh, as far as the slide goes, you know, everything in here just looks super heavy duty, no unusual wear. Everything about this pistol is just over-engineered to take a beating, and I definitely think it will. Oh, as far as our lower frame goes, you know, it's gonna be aluminum, an aluminum alloy on this gun. There is a version of this 226 that does have a stainless steel lower, and it's kind of polished to match a polished stainless steel slide, but the standard versions are just an aluminum alloy. As far as kind of the rails for our slide to ride on, I mean, the front ones are just huge and massive, and they go all the way from the center of the gun all the way to the front. They are molded into that aluminum. Those might be some of the best rails I've ever seen on a gun, and then you do get two of them on the rear on either side as well that are about an inch long. So there is no way that that slide is gonna move or twist or do anything out of the norm on there. I always love to see that. Again, no unusual wear on the lower frame. Everything is holding up perfectly on this gun, and it's already had a few thousand rounds fired through it. So now we'll just put everything back together. So we have our slide here. We will put our barrel back in. So we just kind of thread that down in. It finds its place just like that. We will put our guide rod back into our spring, and so we will slip that into its position there, kind of just that spring first into its spot, and then we'll push that guide rod forward until we find that little notch on the barrel that it goes in, so everything looks perfect there. So now we will line up our slide with our rails on the lower frame, just like so, and then we will pull this slide all the way back and we will lock it into place with our slide lock. So now that it is locked back into place, we will turn our takedown lever back up. So everything looks good to go there. We will release our slide and we'll give it a press on the trigger, make sure everything works. It definitely does. So that is the teardown of the 226. So that kind of is the whole 226 pistol. It is big, it is bulky, it is ready for war, it is over-engineered. As far as the dimensions of this gun go and specs, you know, it's 7.7 inches long, it's 5.5 inches tall, it's 1.5 inches wide, that width being on the grip of the gun. The slide itself is closer to 1 inch wide, and the gun unloaded weighs just over 2 pounds. This pistol has just proven itself time and time again as being one of the best handguns of all time. This gun has had testing done to it in where they put 10,000 rounds through this pistol without cleaning it and had 0 misfires, malfunctions, problems of any sort. And that is absolutely crazy that you can fire 10,000 rounds through this gun without cleaning it or doing anything and it will never have one hiccup. So very reliable, very durable, very well engineered pistol. So this makes a very cool duty pistol. It's always gonna fire, it's always gonna go bang every single time. This is a very cool and legendary pistol to have in your safe because it was and is used by the US Navy SEALs, and they are one of the most elite group of soldiers in the world. And it's a great pistol for home and self-defense. You know, if you just need a gun that's always gonna go bang and you never have to worry about any problems, the SIG P226 has to be one of the best choices out there. So, and I've probably rambled enough about this gun, so I think now we need to go out to the range. We'll put a few rounds through it. We'll see how it does. Stick around, guys. This should be super exciting. It's 25 degrees out there, is snowflakes in the air. I'm absolutely freezing and my hands are a little shaky. So now we'll just do a little
I'm gonna ride to your cage. Your papa said to steer clear, 'cause I lead to the grave. You better run away, run, and fire your gun. 'Cause once I have you in my claws, I'm gonna bite out your heart.
So now we'll just do a little accuracy test with the SIG P226. So I've got a target out there at 10 yards exactly. I had 9 shots sitting around, so we're gonna put 9 shots into it and see what our grouping looks like. So 10 yards, 9 shots, SIG P226. Let's get some. Well, let's go see what our groupings look like here. Man, that 226 is a slick shooter. You know, it's such a heavy gun, just a full frame, and so 9 mil seems like 22. All right, so looking at our target here, here's our grouping at 10 yards. So I mean, this is just about, an inch grouping or so. I mean, we had one right in the center, but it seems like all of our others were a little high and a little right. I mean, they're only an inch off center or so, but you know, and I'm a right-handed shooter. If it were shooter error, my shot should have been low and left. So I don't really know how to explain the high and right, but good grouping nonetheless. So I think now we'll do a 25-yard target and we'll do 10 shots. We'll see what they look like. All right, so now we're out at 25 yards. We've got our target set up. We're gonna switch our ammunition too. Since we're shooting a SIG, we might as well shoot some SIG ammunition. So this is actually 124 grain, jacketed hollow point by SIG. The stuff we were shooting was 115 grain, just target rounds by Blazer. So we'll see how the 124s feel out of this 226. I bet I won't even notice a difference. So 25 yards, let's see what happens. Well, let's go check them out. It might have been a little bit snappier, the 124s, but in a big metal pistol that's full size, I mean, it's definitely hard to tell the 115 to 124 switch. So, all right. So looking at our target here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, well, we did have one high flyer up there and kind of one low one. These 8 are all maybe 3 inches apart, kind of max. You know, we had a good grouping there. We put one right on the money at 25 yards, but still not bad, you know, about a 3-inch grouping or so at 25 yards. So, I mean, that SIG definitely shoots nice. It's just so buttery. Everything about it is so smooth. The trigger's great. You know, in single action, it has a great break. In double action, it's just a very linear, smooth pull straight through. So let's actually do one final test. We'll just be at 10 yards. We'll put 10 shots in the target and we'll do them all from double action instead of single action. And we'll see what our grouping looks like in double action. All my shots so far have been in single action. So we'll see if we notice that we're a little bit less accurate in double action, but I think it's gonna be about the same. The double action is still really smooth on this pistol, so we'll see what she does. All right, so we're back at 10 yards here. We're gonna do 10 shots on our target, all in double action here. We're still shooting that 124 grain SIG jacketed hollow point. I kinda like those. I think I'm gonna have those be my everyday carry ammo. They shoot really well. So, 10 yards, 10 shots, double action. Let's see what the groupings look like. And I've got to remember, I am decocking it between every single shot. Help me remember that. Our bottom tape already came off the target. God, it's too cold to be out here. Too bad. I think this might be our last shot. Oh, one more. Woo-wee! All right, let's go see how they look here. Got that double action. You know, it's a long, firm pull, but it still is really nice. All right, so here's our target there. So, you know, you can see that we put a bunch of them just right on the money here. I guess these two ones, maybe it's about 2 inches apart or so, but a lot of them here about an inch, inch and a half apart. So for 10 shots, you know, all in double action, I don't think that's too bad. I'll definitely take it. I mean, Our single action shots were maybe an inch grouping or so, just over that. So we went out to 2, an inch and a half or so with the double action, but it's negligible. You know, I would still say that that's a great shooting pistol, still in double action. Very impressed. Gonna wrap up the video, guys. I'm really digging the SIG P226. I'm very happy that I found this gun. It's an extremely nice shooting pistol. It's been 100% reliable for me. And it is a used pistol. It was already broken in and everything when I got it. I've never had one problem with it. You know, I don't think I'm going to everyday carry this pistol just because of its size. I don't think it's going to be my go-to target pistol, even though it is extremely accurate. I think it's just going to be another pistol in the safe for legendary reasons, and if I ever need a pistol and I just need it to go bang, this is definitely going to be one of the first ones I grab. Very impressed with the SIG P226. I definitely go get yourselves one. If you're up in the air about them, wonder no more. This is an awesome pistol. It's worth every penny. Whatever you find it for, it is worth it. So, and there's many different versions of this gun, so get the MK25, get the Elite, get the stainless, whatever you think. It is a 10 out of a 10. 5 stars, to say the least. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, like the video if this helped you out, subscribe if you want to see more, and until next time, have a great night, guys.